Hi, welcome to BariNation, where we support the bariatric community with humor, humility, and honesty.
You've just tuned into a podcast that welcomes you into a community, a resource center, and a safe place that powers your journey towards personal wellness.
Our goal is you leave us today feeling hopeful, inspired, and ready to live your best bariatric life.
Hey BariNation, it's April. We recently launched our Drive to Thrive campaign, and that means that we need your help to keep the support coming. BariNation is a patient-founded and patient-led organization that has resisted the commercialization of our platform because we want to ensure that patient voice remains front and center. That's why you don't hear a lot of ads on the podcast. You're hearing more from patients themselves. But that means we need your support to keep it going. If this podcast has made a positive impact in your bariatric journey, or if you have listened and learned, please consider supporting it by making a one-time or monthly recurring donation. It's all going to support the organization that is supporting you. Join us at BariNationPodcast.com to learn more about our campaign and give. You've got this, and we've got you.
Hello, Bari-Nation. It's Natalie. I am here by myself today. Wild. I wanted to come on and chat with you guys about two terms that we use quite often in the BariNation support community and also on the BariNation podcast. We have a lot of new members and a lot of new listeners. Hi, hello. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you found us wherever you are on your journey. Whether you're pre-op, you're thinking about surgery, maybe you have a date, maybe you just had your surgery, you're looking for community. Maybe you've had your surgery for a while now and you're looking for that support system to get you through these tough hurdles that bariatric surgery can present. You found a really great home in the BariNation podcast. If you're looking for a little bit of extra support that happens almost daily via Zoom, just like this. If you're watching the podcast on YouTube, it happens just like this. You go on Zoom, you chat with professionals, with therapists that lead support groups, and you speak with people just like me and you, bariatric peers, bariatric patients. So if you're just finding the podcast, hi, I'm so glad you're here. And if you're looking for a little bit of extra support, maybe you've been listening to us for a while, join us over in the BariNation support community. You can go to BariNation.com to find out more. So the two terms that I wanted to chat about today are pause and pivot and space and grace. We've been talking about those a lot, quite often in and out of the community. And I just thought it was time to define what they mean when April, Jason, and I talk about them on the podcast, when we talk about them in the BariNation support community. What do we mean by that? So I'll start with space and grace because that was one of the first terms that we came up with here in BariNation. It was actually brought to us by Jason Smith. He is our co-host, our co-founder of BariNation, and he really talks about all the time, you got to have the space and grace. This journey is difficult. This journey takes time. And yeah, let's break it down. So, space and grace. Space from the situation, whether that's physically removing yourself from the environment. For me, my kitchen, my living room tend to be where I get the most snacky. So sometimes I'll go for a walk. Sometimes I'll go to bed. I just need that space from the trigger, honestly, whether it's just sitting down watching TV. Sometimes it's just getting ready in the morning, hanging out, watching TV, or flipping through my phone. I want snacks. I want to eat something. Maybe it's a work thing. Maybe you come home, you're stressed, you're about to make dinner, and you just want a snack, or you want to binge, or you want to do something like that. So we're going to remove ourselves from the space. It could also be mentally, if you're like, hey, I can't have this conversation right now. Give me a day or two to respond. That's also space. Grace, and this is my definition, but I think April and Jason would agree. The grace part does not necessarily mean giving yourself an excuse, right? Sometimes the grace can be a little bit of tough love. Sometimes the grace is just the understanding that we give ourselves, and it can be the same as the understanding that we would give a friend, right? We can be so hard on ourselves. So space, removing ourselves from the trigger, saying, I'm feeling emotional right now, or bored eating, and I want a bowl of popcorn. Okay, let's remove ourselves. Let's take a walk and come back in 10, 15 minutes. The grace is, okay, I felt like eating popcorn. Maybe I should make a snack, or maybe I should make like a meal with some protein in it. And maybe while I'm eating my protein-packed meal or snack, I can think about why I felt compelled to eat in that moment. Or maybe I'll bring this up with my therapist later, or a bariatric friend to talk through it. Or maybe I'll bring it to a BariNation group. So space and grace are the first term, really, that we use often, and first tool that we have really curated in BariNation. The second one is to pause and pivot. And it's in the same vein as space and grace, but pause and pivot is, to me, a little bit more gritty, a little bit more thought-provoking. Well, they're both kind of thought-provoking, but I think the pause and pivot, after I explain it, will make a little more sense. So pause, there's a lot of power in this pause, okay? We just had a member today posting about how you come to this point in your journey, we call it the commitment, where maybe your weight loss has stalled. You don't really quite know what to do. You're tired. You've been doing all this work, and you come to a crossroad. Maybe you hit a wall, and that wall can seem challenging. Well, sometimes that wall is there to rest, to pause. So we encourage ourselves and our BariNation support community members and all of you listening to maybe view that wall as a place to pause and rest. In society these days, with bariatrics, even if you're not a bariatric patient, right, it's very easy for us to act in motion, right? We build up a lot of momentum, and then we think we just have to think and think and think quicker and quicker and quicker. When in reality, when we hit those walls, it doesn't mean that we've failed or that we've given up or that we can't go on. It just means we hit that wall so fast. Maybe you should just take a minute and pause and reflect. And as we're pausing and reflecting, we can plan about where we're going to pivot. So I know for myself, when I think of pause and pivot, I'm going in a trajectory. Let's take that newly post-op stage. You just had surgery, you're losing all the weight, and everything is going really quickly. And then all of a sudden you hit a stall. Or you don't want a bariatric anymore. You don't want to do this anymore, right? You come to a wall. You hit it pretty hard. you've built up all this momentum. You're going, and you're thinking on your feet quickly and rapidly. And maybe those decisions aren't the best for you. Maybe they are, but you're making decisions really, really fast. So when we hit that wall, we think, okay, I'm going to sit and rest and reevaluate. And as we reevaluate, we can kind of take a look around and go, that trajectory I was going on, all of a sudden doesn't really make sense for me. All of a sudden, it doesn't really seem like the way that I want to go anymore. And sometimes we hit that pretty soon after our bariatric surgeries because we have been eating at a pretty low calorie deficit, right? Or we're tacking on, we're trying to habit stack all the time. And sometimes that's just not sustainable. So I'm keeping on to this anecdote with the newly post-op stage. Calorie deficit is really low. You might not be eating a lot of veggies. You're probably adding in more movement. You're probably learning more about bariatric mindset, whether it's in the BariNation support community or amongst peers. Maybe you're listening to the podcasts, right? So we hit this point where we got to figure out what's sustainable for us. And that is the pause and the pivot. So we're going to pause from that rapid trajectory. We're on a roll. We got the momentum. We hit that wall. We're going to sit a minute. We're going to think about where we want to go, where we want to be in 6 months, a year. And we're going to choose that trajectory. We're going to pivot to match that trajectory that we have thought about. So that's space and grace, and that's pause and pivot. And I hope that by breaking this down, maybe it makes a little bit more sense when we reference them. This world has a lot of lingo, a lot of terms to remember between bariatrics and then just day-to-day life. So I hope that this helped kind of break that down. And I hope that as you continue on your journey, whatever trajectory you are on, you can onboard these tools to help you stay on track, stay where you want to go. And if where you're headed is not where you want to be, maybe take a pause and think about how you can pivot to make your journey the best it can be. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this helped, and we'll see you next week on the BariNation Podcast.
That wraps up another empowering episode of the BariNation Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, keep the conversation going by joining the BariNation membership community, where you can attend live support events, access on-demand resources, and find a caring community.
Join us at barination.mn.co. If you found this podcast valuable, help us produce it by becoming a $5 monthly supporter at BariNationPodcast.com.
And just remember, at the end of the day, you've got this, we've got you, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.